Hello and welcome to another episode of They've Been Doing It All Day, Sir. Foran in, Seibold out. Let's see if Manly can shake it all about. Let's get stuck in.
Nice. How's your week been, mate?
Yeah, it's been really good. Cheers, mate. Really good. That's caught you off guard.
Yeah, that tickled me. That did. Shows the liveness of what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. But no, good. Was coaching my first game of league this weekend.
Getting stuck in, getting into the thick of it.
Yeah, getting straight into the thick of it. Up at the old Forest Hill Ferrets. Was going well. Really well, and unfortunately one of the girls had quite a serious injury, but the game plan was going really well up to there. She, bless her, she was playing incredibly well as well up to that point. She was coming in off the wing and putting in some hard yards, which is a bit of a shame. Great to see them sort of putting in the game plan that we sort of discussed about. And we're playing with a little bit of freedom as well, so can't really argue. It was great to watch.
Talking about game plans and playing with freedom, heard you had a couple of visitors as well on the sideline.
Yeah, old Tony rocked up, Tony Seibold and Mastrov. Well, after I think they came up to watch really the men's A grade. But yeah, walked in, very slim and very small. No, quite a dot amongst the beer bellies of Forestville Ferrets, if I'm being perfectly honest. Quite a shock to see him.
Day after the big news.
After he got sacked as well.
Yeah.
He was on his hand super dry, so still doing a bit of calorie counting as well.
Fair play.
But other than that, it was pretty chill. Not much else went on Sunday. Nice little coffee. Nothing crazy. Went to Bunnings. Got a stick for the plant so it stays up straight. You know. I think that's going to be a reoccurring feature. Is the update on the plant. How about yourself?
Quiet weekend, real quiet weekend. Obviously, we had the Roosters game, which we reflect on the week as a whole as Manly fans in a bit. Just preparing myself for chocolate season, really. You know, like we've got a heavy weekend on the chocolates coming up, so thought I'd sample a few this weekend just to make sure they're all right for Easter. Next weekend, dropped a small fortune in Woolies on chocolates for the kids. Like you go in, you're like, I'll get a couple of bits. Next thing you know, it's like over $100. And obviously there was a few other bits other than chocolate in there, but I couldn't believe the price of some of it. And if the kids don't appreciate these chocolates, then next year they can do one. But went round a school friend's house for a barbecue on Sunday. Actually, jump about in the pool, which was pretty good. But
day for it.
It was a day for it. I had a few little Sunday bevies as well, which was nice. But what a week it has been.
Yes,
very much so. We had a bit of a blow up last week around the situation in Manly, and 1 week on, oh how different it looks. So let's review the week as a whole. Let's think about what were your thoughts going into Thursday night Roosters game. Obviously, we said a few things on the podcast last week.
And when you take your rose-tinted glasses off and you look at it as a whole, you're like, right, we're going to get absolutely spanked here. I think I believed a lot of the hype around the Roosters name. Saying that, we had to deal with a massive thunderstorm beforehand. I got absolutely drenched.
That was genuinely one of the biggest storms I think I have ever been involved in.
Yeah, it was wild. Touch and go whether the game was actually going to be on.
I was worried at one point for sure.
You saw Brookie underwater. Got to hand it to the ground staff and the drainage. It's soon sort of disappeared in that sense. And then made me way up to the ground, took my seat, and then I think it was the best 10 seconds I think I've ever seen of a Manly game.
It highlights some of the problems that Manly have with how we scored the opening try. Like 2 tackles in, whip it out to the edge, and we beat them with pace around the outside. And I think that's been the issue with what we've been trying to do too much, and that's been highlighted a few reasons. But a few stats that I saw earlier around the Roosters being the most perfect game ever played by a team since the stats or in the modern NRL. 96% completion rate, so 51 sets, 49 completed, 0 penalties. So one of the things that we spoke about before was their discipline record. It screwed them over the week before against the Warriors, I believe, and 0 penalties in this game. 2,094 metres, which is the 6th most by the Roosters in a game, which is nuts. 35 kicks, most kicks in a game, 319 passes, second most passes by the Roosters, sixth most passes in the NIL era. And the interesting thing to me is I don't feel like the Roosters were that good.
No, and that's a point I made at the game is I can understand why the better teams are beating them.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just a case of Manly didn't have anything. The Roosters just didn't have anything either. And Manly just were worst at it.
We talk about our forward pack as well, right? Not being the most powerful. They got Manly's forward pack got absolutely dominated by the Roosters. On most tackles, we were getting driven back. Very rarely were we attacking from their half. But it goes to show that a pack that can run through the middle will cause them problems. And I don't know. I just don't see like they're talking about. Yeah, there are a few things away from it clicking and it going right, but on paper, statistically, they've just had the most perfect game that you could have.
Yeah.
And yeah, all right, they beat us 30, what was it, 32, 33, 16 or something like that. But I wouldn't necessarily say it was the most, like, it didn't look that dominant. No. Manly were actually in the game for a very long period of time. And I did think at one point, hang on, are we actually going to do this at half time? And then it just kind of fizzled out in the second half.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things in it was the kick chase on defensive kick. One of the reasons why Manly were playing so much out of their own half was how poor the kick chase is on defensive kicks.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the back three of the Roosters nearly hit 200 metres, and that's because of them getting a quite comfortable 20 metres a time as soon as they return. There's just there's no urgency, there's no pressure, and then if they're collecting at the ball at the 10 and the first tackle's at the 30, a couple of tackles later, they're already Manly's half, and Manly's then having to defend themselves. And when your forwards don't take the ball out of your own half, and it's reliant on the backs, like Hopewadi hit 250 odd metres.
Yeah,
like it just puts you into a massive struggle, and that was the issue with Manly. You score first off a kickoff, which highlights what Manly's attacking play is, because naturally in a kickoff you swarm towards the middle because that's where the biggest run is. If you are switched on, it's probably the perfect time to run it. So you got to credit in that sense. But other than little moments of brilliance from Tolakola,
the geezer is on one
again. Like I think 2 breakaways from Kola, set up his own try as well as Turbo's second try. Other than that, Manly just didn't have an inch of anything. But then highlights more than just the players. There's schemes being set out which just don't suit what's being out on the field.
Walked out of that game fuming, like boiling, like fuck Seibold, he's got to go, like all this sort of stuff. Was actually quite surprised to find out the next day that he was sacked. Like I thought they might, because you hear all this stuff around signed a new contract, 2 years, thought that they might give him a bit more time to make a change, make things work. But I think the pressure was too much from the noise around what was going on, and they knew that they needed to make a change early, and they did. But typical Manly fashion, I've heard today, like it's been an absolute circus of order in which people got told, players found out from breaking news, even executives found out from that Foran was taken over from news rather than being internal within the club. So even though Mashtroff is gone, it seems like the shit show sits with Penn and the owners. Yeah,
like you said, it was quite a surprise seeing a lot of people out and going, what's going on? It's only 3 games in the season. You can't do anything. And it's like, well, you know, if they can and they're not doing anything, then why wouldn't you? There's been no progression from the last season.
Nope.
As I've said, all I've seen is going backwards. So
part of me though does think it also sits on whoever's in recruitment, whoever's making business decisions, because you look at the players that we've brought in and you look at the players that have left. Now, all right, we can talk about Josh Holloway, medically retired, Toff Sipley, moving on, but they're big bodies in the middle that used to run the ball hard and be physical presence in the middle. We haven't replaced that with like for like Kobe Hetherington, is great. He was solid against the Roosters, played 80 minutes as well, 2 dodgy knees, and he's managed to play 80 minutes 4 games into the season. But it just doesn't feel like we're recruiting for the right positions. Like you look at our hooker position, Jazz Tavanga last year was decent, but he wasn't he wasn't the next level. Where now we've brought in Jake Simpkin, even Brandon Wakeham starting now. So I just think it's a position that we lack at. And if you look at all the top clubs, they have very good hookers that are just whipping the ball out quick, ruck speeds quick, and they're getting it to where it needs to be. So I do think, and like I noticed as well that Jamal Fogarty's come out, Turbo's come out. They've all kind of apologised a little bit, saying the players have got to take ownership on it. And I do get it. There was a lot of errors in the Newcastle game.
Yeah.
But like you said, just something wasn't working.
Yeah, and then you go from that. I suppose they're trying to dissect a game after it, and Seibold gets sacked and everything comes in, and then it comes in so quickly that Kieran Foran's taken over. Quickest, 200 odd days since he played his last game, the quickest ever from player to coach. So
yeah, I know the guy's a club legend, and he's won a premiership, and he's made of tough stuff, had a few challenges in his career/life that he's overcome, and it is an interim job. I'm just a bit concerned that there's not much he can do with the players that we've got. Now, you look at Man United in the Premier League, they've brought in ex-players on a couple of occasions with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Michael Carrick, and they have actually had that little new manager bounce, like old player bounce. I do think we will see players play with a bit more freedom and a game plan, because I don't know if you saw, there's that thing about Jake standing up to Seibold
about the game plan.
The game plan, and maybe it's just a case of bringing it back to middles running the ball, trying to get some yard. Like Ola Kawhi, who's only had like 20 carries or something in 3 games. That's got to change. Big boys have got to take the load. They've got to step up, and I think I'm hopeful. Like we'll talk about the team and stuff like that that's selected for this week, but I'm hoping we'll see someone step up and the boys step up.
Needs to.
But it's an interesting one because we look forward to the future, and then there's 3 candidates that have been thrown up for people to replace, which is Matty Ballin, Brad Arthur, and Mick Ennis. Can't say I know much about Ballin because only been following the sport recently, but he's coached with a Premiership winning. He's assistant coach with a Premiership winning side, a State of Origin winning side. Like it seems like, and he's a Manly. I don't quite get this. I don't know about you, about I know all the stats point towards an ex-Manly player has taken them to premierships, but I don't know. I don't know whether that's a pivotal factor in hiring the next coach. But he seems the front runner. For me, Brad Arthur, I think, would be a good choice. Just what he done with Parramatta. Yeah,
he took them to the semi-final. Oh no, he took them to the final. Lost to the Panthers. Then you sort of throw. It's all about who you build around you as well. I suppose there's the how you have your sort of assistant coaches, and that plays a major part in it as well. You've got the likes of, as you said, Mick Ennis, who James Graham was massively hyping up on his podcast this week about how much he impacted him off the field as a leader. So is it going to be exciting times? It always is when a new manager comes in, but I think there needs to be a lot more work within the structure and then within the core group as well to help with that. And
the old Melbourne Storm GM, they're trying to scout him out and try and get him over to rebuild the football club. So be interesting to see. Look, Dolphins this Thursday night. We'll get into our tips a little bit later on, but it's one of those things where not much can happen because it was a Thursday game. Changed on Saturday, first training session Sunday, game on Thursday. Realistically, what can change in 4 days? I think the week after when we play, is it Eels, Dragons? I can't remember who it is the week after. We might then see a different approach to how things are. But there were some big shocks this round, some big old shocks. And I think on Sunday, was it Saturday? It was Saturday. We tipped the Warriors, we tipped the Storm, and both of them have absolutely fallen apart somehow.
I only got one right last week, I think. Like I said, like a text you like I was a Panthers slip away from presenting this in my underpants for getting a big 0.
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone going 0 on the tips. But Cowboys up in Townsville, I can't
But
believe
is this similar to how Melbourne went last year though, with their trip to the Dragons?
Yeah.
Because it seems very, very similar in that sense. Like around the same sort of time. Bit of a, but we talked about it when they played the Broncos as well, where they just shut off in the second half.
Yeah.
Is it something starting? Well, you just don't know.
They got the Panthers up next as well.
Well, it's just so hard to pick at the moment.
It is. And look, we spoke about some sexy passes last week, and this is what I mean about the difference a number 9 can make.
It's so good.
Harry Grant, literally, I didn't even realise that Will Warbrick was on the side, and he's just whipped it over 3 people. Warbrick's there to take it, and look, at that point I was like, here we go, Storm are going to come back and win this. But fair play to the Cowboys. Todd Payton fighting for his job, and that's how you want a team to play if you've got a coach that's fighting for your job, not the way Manly have turned up. But off the back of that, like I said, Storm have got Panthers this week, but at the moment, at the present time in this season, it feels like Panthers are just going to
give them the trophy.
Romp to the Premiership. They put the Eels to the absolute sword in the first 15 minutes. That game was done. Half time, 30 points to 4. But the biggest thing that surprises me is the old white boy on the wing, old Tommy Jenkins.
Milky Jenkins.
He's 10 tries in 4 games. He's absolutely nuts.
But he's reaping the rewards of everything else. Like when you have strong middles who are able to sort of penetrate the middle of the field, when you've got a half who's able to open up teams, see things, that you've got good set pieces, good set plays to introduce in there. You're creating things to open up space. Everything is done by design, and he's doing his job out there, and the Panthers are utilising it.
They are, and they're just, whatever they do, like they exploit the rules with we mentioned the 6 again. They wear teams down, and they're just relentless in what they do.
They just don't stop.
And at the moment, there's no one looking like close to them in terms of all-round game. Like defensively, they look fantastic. In attack, they can just finish from anywhere. They got weapons. But the biggest surprise of the round, if anyone saw this coming, then fair play.
Yeah.
But the Tigers beating the Warriors in New Zealand is absolutely nuts. Without Jerome Luai as well.
I believe this performance has put the rest of the league on notice.
Oh, that is... the Warriors ain't as good as they first looked?
No,
the Tigers
Tigers, because I did sit back and think about it as well. Is when watching that game, and the week before when they lost and they were losing both Dewey and Luai, it does really rock the ship and rock you as a team when you're losing 2 pivotal parts of your. And you can understand why the momentum can shift from a team like that. But the 2 games where they've had 2 set halves in, they've absolutely ripped their opposition to bits.
Yeah.
And they've played some fantastic rugby. And it's... this result puts the rest of the league on notice. Like not to go and storm and win the championship, but these Tigers are and could well be within that mixture for the 8.
It's the fact that they've got a backup as well in Jock Madden that should anything happen to Dewey or Luai could probably come in and play a bit of both. I did say that the Tigers were nothing without Luai, and they've gone and beaten a team that's romped to a few victories. Devastating news for positive for the Warriors from the game. Metcalf came back and seemed a little bit early, but will work up to obviously his fitness. But they've lost Mitch Barnett again for 4 to 6 weeks because he broke his thumb. So obviously just coming back from that ACL, and then he breaks his thumb. So
does this derail them again?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how they go. But the last of the upsets of the weekend, the Knights beating the Bulldogs. But when you look into this, right, I don't know whether it is actually it's too much of an upset. Bulldogs have only scored 45 points in 3 games. They're not that great in attack. But you mentioning about the Tigers beating the Warriors puts the comp on notice.
Yeah.
I got a sneaky feeling that the Knights are going to do what the Raiders did last year.
Okay.
Everyone's like, I don't think they're going to be minors. Like, I don't think they're going to win the minor premiership, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if they find themselves around like that 4, 5, 6 spot because of the way they're playing right now, who they've not got playing to come back. I don't know. It just feels like Dom Young as well seems to have found his form.
Which is quite an interesting question, because we had a conversation about it on Thursday as well. Like how he essentially flopped at the Roosters. Like I think the first season he was there, he played really well. But then when the winger Nitawase came in with Tupou, you sort of, big Marky Mark was forced into the centres a little bit to fit all three of them in. And I think Young felt the pressure a little bit, and his performance started to drop with that.
Yeah.
And then Marky Mark went to the wing, does what he's been doing, and then Dom Young was dropped and ended up back up at Newcastle. But this is Dom Young's playing as he was pre Roosters.
Yeah.
And it's great to see as an Englishman, and it only encourages for the England side as well.
Yeah.
And it's great to see him starting to get in a swing bit more of form.
And with him as well, like he's got two big weapons in the fact long range strike. He's quick. He can run away from most players, but also he's a big body.
He's huge.
He takes a lot of stopping from just outside the goal line. And Brad, they've got some very decent big boys on the outside. The Knights, and don't know, just when Ponga's back, when Dylan Brown's back, I just got a feeling that they could be mixed up. But then you say that, is it because that their halves at the moment have got less pressure on them because they know the superstars are coming back?
They were ripping it up against Manly, so it was one of those, and they didn't they beat? No, they just lost to the Bulldogs by a point, didn't? No,
they beat the Bulldogs. One thing about the Bulldogs actually that I just want to mention is I think Bronson Sherry's been named this week.
They beat the Cowboys. I don't know.
They beat the Cowboys, but Bronson Sherry's been named this week. I reckon they missed him. They missed him in the attack. Yeah, a bit of, I don't know, just a bit of size, bit of speed coming out from centre. It just seems like, and that the geezer that came in, I can't remember his name, but he made a few errors as well. But talking of the last year's minor premiers, the Raiders, I didn't watch much of this game against the Sharks. Sharks, from the highlights I saw, looked just pretty going through the motion, did well, finished well. But it's a bit worrying times for the Raiders.
Yeah, it really is. Sharks, just inconsistencies are killer. I think really is with that team. They just, like you said, going through their motions, they just looked so much better as a team again. Are they going to be like that next week?
Who knows?
No one knows. It's at a bit of a flip of the coin, because especially with it being down in Canberra against Canberra, you don't sort of expect that. But then, like you say, Canberra just didn't look comfortable within the game at all.
And Corey Horsburgh, I looked at the penalty. I thought it was a bit harsh, him getting sent to the bin so early. But he was right next to the referee when the penalty was blown. So I don't know whether, psychologically, he thinks that he's 10 metres because he's standing next to the referee and then goes to make the tackle and gets sent to the bin. But it was a weird one that punished them early. A couple of tries were scored by the Sharks. But the Battle of Queensland, I think there's another Queensland derby this week, actually.
Of course.
It seems like they just get them out of the way early doors in the year. And Broncos Titans this week, so they just rotate them. But Broncos showing, and especially Katoni Stags, showing that the Suncorp is their house.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like they're picking up. You tipped the Dolphins.
I did.
I tipped the Broncos. I just think they're going to find a little bit of form. Although, again, another stat that I saw just before I came in here, Reece Walsh has made the most errors in the NRL this year so far. Got to get that out of his game.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed with the Dolphins in this one. I suppose I just expected more from them, and they had shown signs of that. Not being really just Broncos are turning, but just that little bit more physical, just that little bit more
bigger boys played.
Them. Yeah,
they wanted it a bit more,
which is massive. And when you've got the likes of Carrigan and Haas in the middle, when they start doing damage, it does stop a lot of teams.
It does. And then the final game of the round, which we said would be a bit of a struggle, was those Titans getting that first victory, or it was their first home game and their first win. Bit of a nasty injury for Shane Flanagan in this, or Kyle Flanagan, sorry. Getting absolutely knocked out. Like head clash, I think it was 2 players, friendly fire, collided heads. Bit of a struggle of a Sunday watch this one though.
Yeah,
I was cooking dinner, I think, or like I was a bit half cut.
It was that Burnley Fulham. Yeah, on a Sunday afternoon.
Absolute random one, right? I went to the last game at Craven Cottage, and it was Fulham against Leicester, and this was in like early 2000s, and there was this massive like show put on to celebrate like Craven Cottage before they turned it into seated. It was standing, and it was probably the most boring 0-0 game I've ever been to in my life. And that's what this felt like. It felt like you're just watching two teams. Like, fair play to the Titans.
Blue Stoke 0-0. I think the highlight, I might have mentioned it on here, Gary O'Connor missed a header. And the BBC editor came on to BBC WM and was like, I'm going to struggle to find 45 seconds worth of highlights from this game. Talking about football, one of the best sort of things I highlighted on Thursday is how much Tedesco looks like an old style centre midfielder, English centre midfielder.
When he was warming up, you're right. Like, he just has his socks pulled up. He just black boots, like you were saying.
He just looked like Lee Catamol.
Yeah. It looked like you could just put him in the CDM role and he'd go around and literally not give a fuck about
get sent off in about 10 minutes. Yeah.
Flying everywhere. But he's annoying. Like, let's get back to that game for a second. The amount that he badgers the referee and he's in their ear hole. Turbo needs to take a little leaf from his book because
it worked. He got a couple of things his way.
He did, because that Olakawatu, it wasn't Olakawatu, Wakeham's try where
Olakawatu
pushed Tupou. Like, what's he meant to do? Olakawatu's eyes are on the ball and Tupou steps in front of him. Is he just meant to run into him? Would that mean it's then a block escort? I'm not too sure, but we got the Dolphins on Thursday. We'll get into that into a second. But for what it seems like at the moment, everything is a bit up in the air apart from one thing, and that is the Panthers are dominating.
Panthers are winning the comp.
Panthers are winning the comp. You heard it here first. I'm not sure it's a visionary epiphany that might happen. But let's get into, what is it, round 5?
Yes, it is.
Round 5. We're kicking it off on Thursday night. We're at KO Stadium. We're up in Queensland. We got the Dolphins at $1.35 against the Manly Sea Eagles, $3.19. Yikes, indeed.
Only change, Clayton Fa'alalo coming in for Saab at the moment. Pretty much the same team as what started against the Roosters. Is there going to be some changes later in the week? I don't know. Is Joe Walsh going to actually creep up to the bench? But as I always do, going to back the boys, and Manly going to get a bounce back. We're going to fuck all the stats of only 32% of teams actually win with their new coach, and we're gonna win this up in Queensland. Yeah,
fair play. One other thing that pissed me off from the Roosters game, and another thing that pissed me off about Seibold, Leafi only playing 13 minutes. 13 minutes. Geezer came on, ran the ball off the back fence, actually fell forward, broke through a tackle, got up. I think he may have got hit a little bit too hard. And also found out after the game as well, Bullymore done something to his
ACL, wasn't it?
Calf or Achilles or something like that. So, but he's been named this week, so it could only been a niggle. Yeah. This one's a difficult one for me because I try to tip with my head and not with my heart. I do really want Manly to do well in this, but I just think it's too short of a turnaround from new coach coming in. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins in this one. Fuck, that hurts to say.
And then we've got the Battle of the Accor Stadium. As the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Good Friday. Huge
fixture. Good Friday at 4:05. So a nice early kickoff.
Yeah.
We've got the South Sydney Rabbitohs at $1.85 against the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs at $2.
That's bonkers that the Rabbitohs are favourites in this, but I can see why that is because of the stats in attack. Like, I don't think they've got much, and the Rabbitohs left edge is humming. I'm going to go Rabbitohs.
I'm going to join you with the Rabbitohs.
And then what a game Friday night. Is this a grand final preview? I do not know. We're at the CommBank Stadium. We got the odds in this. We got the $1.40 Panthers against a $2.88 Melbourne Storm.
I'm going to go Panthers.
I can't see anyone stopping them. Genuinely, like, I look at this Storm team. How mad is it about Kamakamitha as well, by the way, having a stroke? Have you read that? That is nuts. Apparently woke up from his stroke. First thing he said was like, he was annoyed that he couldn't play this week. What commitment. But that's
different mentality.
I hope the geezer, obviously, best of recoveries. Well. But Storm are having a bit of a bad time when it comes to unexpected brain injuries and players. Never want to see either Katoas or Kamikamitas, so hope they rest up. And he's back soon. But for me, Penrith Panthers.
Yes. And then the first game on the Saturday at 5:30. We're at the Jubilee Stadium in Cogra. We've got the Dragons at $2.16 against the Cowboys at $1.70.
This is the sort of game that the Dragons will turn up or the Cowboys will play terribly. Like, when it's like the complete opposite of the week before. Feels to me like another snore fest. Like, Cogra Oval ain't exactly the best venue as well for games to be broadcast because it's quite like, it's a bowl and it just doesn't feel right.
Like I was setting on FIFA when you're properly zoomed out.
Yeah. Flanagan out. King Tonga in. People are slagging off Clint Gufferson as well, not looking any good. I'm going to back the Cowboys to go back-to-back.
Yeah, I'm going to join you on that one, actually. Going to join you with the Cowboys.
Then we got the Queensland Derby number 5 of the season or 4 of the season, whatever it is. We're at the
you can say that about Sydney derbies, though, always happening.
Yeah, but that's what makes it weird because there's so little. There's only 3 teams, 4 teams in Queensland, but 3 teams like within close proximity of each other, and they just seem to play each other every week at the moment. So we're up at the Seibold Super Stadium. I'm still tempted to drive up there, by the way.
What, even with the cost of diesel?
It's a petrol car, so it's slightly cheaper. But Seibold Super, $4.35 Gold Coast Titans against the $1.22 Brisbane Broncos.
The Brisbane Broncos have to go up there or go down there and win. They need to put up another performance and they need to fight like these odds are showing, and I'm going to go the Broncos.
I do think the Broncos win this. I do think they win this fairly comfortably. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Titans start out hot and then the Broncos just out physical them.
And then we're at Super Sunday. We've got the Sharks at $1.57 against the Warriors at $2.41 at the Ocean Protect Stadium.
So the Sunday 2 o'clock kickoffs commence. Sharks. I just think we're losing Mitch Barnett. Fanua Blake just doing what he does in the middle. It's a big loss for the Warriors. Yeah, they got Fisher Harris, but I don't know. I think Sharks get this one done. Are they going to back it up?
I'm going to go Wars. I'm going to back the Wars.
Away from home as well.
Away from home. Well, the last time they played away from home, they absolutely romped it away, didn't they?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go the Wars. I'm gonna get them to bounce back, and Cronulla's inconsistency is going to kill them.
Fair enough. Then we go up to the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. The Knights, $2.39 against the Raiders at $1.58.
This is a tough one, especially after watching the Raiders. Do you know what? I'm gonna go Knights.
I'm gonna join you on that one. I believe that the Knights are on a bit of a buoyant run, and the Raiders are struggling at the moment. Like, all right, they've been in the games, but there's something about this Knights team.
And then it concludes on Easter Monday at 4:05. We've got the Parramatta Eels at $1.68 against the West Tigers at $2.19.
Again, these odds have got to be impacted by the fact that Luai isn't playing, right? Like, that's what it is. But they did it against the Warriors last week. The Warriors are better than the Eels, which means the West Tigers are winning this game.
West Tigers are winning the game. This could be a very good game.
I think it could. It's a good one to finish on the Easter Monday. And then Roosters on the bye. And I don't know if you saw, Cherry Evans was on Fletch and Hindy, whatever, the footy show, whatever it is, after the game on Sunday. And he was saying this bye week is pivotal for them to be able to like reset and revisit kind of their tactics and stuff like that. Yeah. So expect them to be firing next week. But seems like we've got another cracking weekend of football lined up.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thursday night. Are we going to go watch it somewhere Thursday night, or we're going to just watch it from the comfort of our own homes and our sofas?
It's going to be a long weekend.
Fair enough. That is. Well, if you haven't done so already, give us a like and give us a subscribe. Really helping us bump up those numbers. And if you've enjoyed the episode, drop us a comment below as well. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear us talking about? And we'll catch you in the next one.
See you later.